Ogilvy conducted research into what's keeping Australians up at night. We conducted 12 focus groups that uncovered 68 concerns, and we then explored those concerns across 1,000 people from across Australia. The surprising thing about this research was that it really identified that the things that worried Australians most are the things in their immediate vicinity, the things that impact on them directly. And that's why we've called this research the 1 kilometre phenomenon. This research is important from our perspective because what it does is identify very clearly the things that genuinely worry Australians, as opposed to what we thought might have worried Australians. For organisations, this creates a wonderful opportunity to focus in on the areas in which their brands, their organisations can help address those concerns, address those worries, and thus win the trust and support of be they employees, consumers, or voters. But enough from me. Let's hear from some friends of Ogilvy PR as to what's keeping Australians awake at night.
This study is really about what's keeping Australians up at night. Now, we had no agenda going in. We weren't seeking to test anything. We just wanted to find out from people what it was that they were worried about. And we simply did that. We didn't set it up. We just said to people, please tell us what your concerns are, what you're worried about. And they did. And we found out 68 different concerns, and we quantified them. What we found was if a person felt subject to financial pressure in their lives, that there was a subsequent feeling of greater concern and less control and influence over just about every other issue that they were worried about. And that was beyond just financial issues. The two most common causes of concern that we found in our study were courtesy and a growing lack of respect. Normally you'd think that this is an attitude that might be confined to older people, but what we found was that this was an attitude that was reasonably constant across the board, right down to younger people. And what this makes us think is that there's a real trap that marketers could fall into today, which is to overgeneralize about groups, particularly different generations, that we hear a lot of talk about Generation Y and how they're completely different from everyone else. But what we're seeing in our study is that there are huge areas of overlap and consistency between generations, as well as variability within generations that marketers, we feel, would be wise not to ignore.
I was surprised in a way to hear that people were very concerned about having to please others all the time, that it was expressed in that way. But then when I stepped back and thought about it, well, yeah, that fits in because, you know, we really are encouraged these days to be very self-sufficient, to do our own thing, to pursue our own goals, our own happiness, and it doesn't fit very well with having to try and get along with other people. And sometimes we may feel that having to please others actually is compromising our own sense of self or our own ability to do our own thing. So I think these days we have to kind of work at getting that mix right. We need to sort out what it is we want in life or how we want to live, and also how we're going to get on with others, and together with others, whether it be at home or at work or in the community, how we're going to work together with others to achieve joint goals.
One of the interesting things about this research is what it says about ageing. A couple of the issues that really come out quite highly are the issue of physical capability as people get older, and also mental capacity. We see similar things in other research that we're doing, coupled with the whole issue of malnutrition in the elderly, which is becoming a very, very major problem in our community. We tend to recognise malnutrition as something you see in Ethiopia. In fact, about 30% of people in the community over the age of 65 in Australia are actually malnourished.
Work-life balance is and has been for quite a while now a major issue, and it's likely to be around for a long time. Australian businesses have a real opportunity to run their concerns substantially more flexibly using modern technology. We've come some way, but we still have an enormous way to go in trying to help people make their lives sane in the balance between life and work.
So the research has uncovered lots of interesting insights, but most importantly what it does is beg the question, what does the 1 kilometre phenomenon mean for each of our businesses? And if you'd like more information, get in touch.